Hello everyone and welcome back to Closets Gaming. Today we are going to take a look at Atomega. This new arena style shooter promises the old school arena shooter experience that we love from games like Quake or Unreal Tournament with a modern twist on top of that. Whether it can deliver on this promise is the question we will try to answer today. Atomega is available on Steam for €9.99 or your regional equivalent. Arena shooters have been an entry to hardcore gaming for a lot of gamers. Whether it was the original, Quake, or Unreal Tournament, or Counter-Strike for those who preferred non-sci-fi games, we all love the rush of being put into an enclosed arena and fighting others for dominance. And in the recent years we have seen somewhat of a resurrection of this genre with games like Overwatch of Paladins coming to the market. But these games aren't pure arena shooters. They have things like classes with abilities, and that's not a thing you would expect from a pure arena shooter. On top of that, Quake and Unreal Tournament are being resurrected with modern versions being available in early access and pre-alpha, and here comes Atomega, wanting to challenge all of these first-person shooter giants. With that being said, let's get straight into the review, and as it is the tradition on my channel, we will start by looking at the mechanics and how the gameplay feels. The game actually has some quite interesting mechanics for an arena shooter. The traditional arena shooter has everyone starting with the same exact gear and then going through the map trying to get better weapons and gain kills. And to a degree you could even say the same exact thing about Atomega, but with one crucial difference. Instead of searching for better guns and needing to learn the exact spots in which they spawn, Atomega has you leveling up by collecting mass. Mass are just boxes that are continuously being spawned around the map. And as you gather this mass, you grow, gain more health, and your weapon becomes more and more powerful. But at the same time, your character becomes less and less mobile. This sounds like a pretty neat idea when you take a first look at it, as you'd assume that means you need to play in a way that balances how mobile versus how powerful you want to be. Sadly, this isn't really the case, as gathering mass also brings your score higher much more quickly than straight on focusing on getting kills, and this is only exaggerated by the fact that every player has access to a teleport, which will take them away from the fight, but also make them drop one level lower in gathering mass. These two facts quickly take the game from a pure arena shooter more to a game of hide and seek until you grow enough, and even then it's better to focus on gathering mass than in getting kills. It is almost like the shooter part of the game is more of a side note in Atomega, and it heavily collides with the game the way it's being presented in its propagational materials. But it also brings parts of the traditional arena shooter back to the game, especially learning the map well. It used to be the case in arena shooters that the guy who knows the map the best, knows how to traverse it in the quickest fashion to get to the best weapons was the one who had a distinct advantage. The same can be said about Atomega, as learning the best route around the map to gain most mass the quickest way is a sure, very important way to make their games easier and win them. And again, I'm sad to say there is a big problem with this. While I do love the fact that learning the map's design is an important part of Atomega, it really isn't that hard, because there's only one single map available in game. The map itself is decent, even good, but the fact that it has just one makes the games feel incredibly stale and similar to each other. You just learn the best way to go around the map and you're done forever. On top of that, the game mode has the same exact problem as the map. There's only one, and as mentioned previously, it's more based around collecting mass than killing your opponents. Pretty much the only reason you will try to kill your opponents is to get them to teleport away so they don't have as high of a skull multiplier as you do have. The thing that is most akin to the arena shooters of all times are the power-ups. They are just sprinkled around the level in yellow boxes, and there are 10 different types of them, ranging from the most obvious, like a damage boost, speed boost, and go to things that are obviously specific to Atomega because of the mass mechanic, like a steal power-up that, not so surprisingly, gives you the ability to steal mass from the people you shoot at, or my personal favorite power-up that makes mass make you grow at double the normal rate. What I found interesting, and this time just interesting, not bad or good for a fact, is the fact that they're visible only if you don't have one. Oh, I forgot to mention, the power-ups are activatables here, so you want to think them of as abilities, you easily can. So, we talked about the mass, about the map, about the power mode, about the power-ups, but isn't this supposed to be a shooter? Where's the information about how the shooting feels? Well, to be honest, there isn't that much to say about it, as you really aren't shooting guns, just a laser, though they do become progressively and satisfactorily larger as you grow. You don't really experience any sort of recoil that would be worth speaking of. I'm pretty sure there is just none in-game. Furthermore, the larger your character is, the slower you shoot. The only limiting factor is heat, and as you fire more, the more hot your laser cannon gets, and if you overheat it, you will need to wait for a bit until you can shoot again. The last thing that is worth mentioning when it comes to shooting is the fact that as you grow larger and the power of your weapons grows as well, it almost seems like the laser gains somewhat of a spread, almost like you don't have to aim perfectly and you hit anyways. So, let's make a short summary of how I feel about the gameplay, because I feel like you guys might be getting a message that I don't like the game. Interestingly enough, I actually do. I enjoyed playing every single match in Atomega, and that is the thing that actually makes me angry about the issues I see within the game. The biggest problem with Atomega at the moment is the sheer lack of content. Just one map and one game mode. I have even spent some time browsing the forums, and I'm not the only one who has this problem. People seem to really like the concept of this game, but are frustrated by the fact that there just isn't enough of it, which in turn leads into a lack of variability in matches. But the devs seem to respond and acknowledge this, so maybe we'll see a few more maps or a different game mode added in the future. Now that we've sufficiently talked about the mechanics and the gameplay, let's focus on the graphics for a moment. Atomega takes on a simple and clean graphical style, which I actually like quite a lot. I will obviously not claim that this is the most beautiful game here in the market, but the clean graphics where the environment and the players' avatars are portrayed in highly contrast colors makes finding and seeing your enemies incredibly easy. And I find that a very important thing for an arena shooter. On the other hand, we have the music of the game. Or, more specifically, the near lack of it. You get music in the menus and the very end of the match, like the last 30 seconds, but the rest of the time you're fighting others, there is no music at all. And I just don't see why. It's almost distracting to a degree, as you just expect at least some music to be played in the background. As we are getting towards the end of the review, it's time to take a short look at the game's performance. And it just ran like butter. I haven't experienced a single bug nor a crash, and the frame rate was consistently high without any stuttering. The ideal package. So, in conclusion, Atomega is a fun game with one crucial problem. The lack of content. I really wish I could just recommend this game to all of you, because I really enjoyed every single match I played, and even the ones I got stomped in by better players. But the fact that there is only one single map and only one single game mode severely limits the enjoyability of Atomega. The price is pretty fair for the fact that the game is that much fun, but it is certainly at the absolute limit of being fair when it comes to the amount of content. A $5 to $7 price would have been much better and would allow me to recommend this game to far more people. Because at this point, I have to say this. If you're looking for a pretty casual shooter for not a lot of money that you can play like 20-30 minutes a day, Atomega might be a good choice for you. If you're looking for something more serious or a game that you can play for hours daily, Atomega really won't fit your needs. Maybe in the future, but the question is whether it can retain enough players to still even be a thing at that point. So, that's it for today, guys. Hope you liked the review, and if you did, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel. And comment if you had something you would like to add. See you guys later with more gaming content.